Hello and welcome to this session on reinvigorating your placement search. My name's Kate Hastings and I'm a placements advisor within the Careers Service. Today's session is going to cover where you are in your placement search. We'll then move on to some of the common challenges that you might be facing in the new year and some of the barriers that are stopping your search at the moment. We'll then have a look at some ways to get restarted and tackle those barriers, and finishing off with some information on support available and some next steps. The post-holiday slump. It's both easy and understandable that you might feel that you're starting to lose focus with your placement search after the Christmas break. Each year there's a flurry of placements which advertise from September through to Christmas time, so when you haven't found a placement by the new year, it can feel like you've missed the boat. You might also have friends or course mates who have found placements already, plus you've got exams and assignments to think about, and you might have signed for a house for next year and feel that coming back for the final year of your degree is just going to be easier. Because of all of this, you might be questioning whether a placement year is actually right for you, and that's something really common that we hear, so you certainly aren't alone in this. We're going to start by looking at some common barriers that are getting in the way of your placement search. The first is that you might be struggling to find placements to apply for. So if this is the case for you, firstly consider whether your search could be too niche or narrow. So are you looking for a very specialised area of work where placements maybe aren't commonly advertised? That's okay, and it's definitely good to have focus on the kind of placement that you're interested in, but you might want to start to think about easy ways that you could broaden your search slightly to increase your chances of finding a placement. So for example, if you were previously looking for a PR placement working for a PR company, you might instead want to start looking at PR placements working for other types of companies in other sectors where they might have in-house PR teams. So for example, a PR role working for an engineering company. Next, make sure that you're looking in all of the right places. So you could be missing out on some lesser known places to find placements, and we'll come on to some help with that in the next slide. Finally, it might be that the kind of placement you want don't really tend to be readily advertised. In this case, you're going to start to need to think about researching employers and making speculative applications. And you can find lots of resources on how to do this on the Career Service website and also within our Finding a Placement materials. Some key actions for you now if you are struggling to find placements that you're interested in. So speaking to an information advisor is something that we would definitely recommend if you're in this situation. You can make an appointment either through My Career or you can drop in to Kingsgate weekdays 11 till 1. And an information advisor has really expert knowledge on all of the places that you could be looking for placements that interest you. So please do take advantage of that one-to-one help. You might also want to use the Explore Occupations pages on the Career Service website and potentially speak to a careers consultant if you're feeling that maybe your search isn't that realistic, and to discuss what other placements might fit in with your career plans and aspirations. If you haven't already, maybe start thinking about making speculative applications and also increasing your connections, which can really help in trying to find those hidden placement opportunities that aren't readily advertised. Applying but not getting a placement. You might find that you're applying to lots and lots of placements but aren't making it through the recruitment process. This can, of course, be very disheartening and also demotivating, especially when you might not be getting feedback from the companies you're applying to. If this is happening to you, try and think about where you're getting to in the processes. Are there any key patterns where you seem to be being rejected, such as at assessment centre stage or if you have to do a video interview? If you're making speculative applications, ask yourself whether your applications are getting to the right people at the companies. If you're struggling to get responses and they're being ignored, then trying to contact a more relevant person could bring you more success. It's also important to think about whether you're explaining what you need from a placement effectively and clearly. If this could be clearer, employers might feel it's too complicated to take on a placement student and not respond. And finally, think honestly about whether your skill set and experience is relevant for the roles you're applying to. If you think it is, then keep on going and applying. The process can just be extremely competitive, and the next role you apply to could be the one for you, so don't give up. If you do think there might be a mismatch there though, this could help you to work out why you haven't found a placement yet, and we'll come on to some support if you do think that's the situation for you. Some key actions to help you if you do think that you're struggling with this particular barrier. If you're not sure whether your applications are particularly strong and you maybe think you need some help with CVs and covering letters or application forms, we have a CV and covering letter pathway which you can access by logging into My Career and navigating to the Pathways tab. And that's a really good thing to work through to make sure that you have all the information you need about what makes a good CV and covering letter. If you are having trouble at the interview stage of the recruitment process, then we would really recommend that you book a practice interview before your next interview. So the careers consultants in the careers service can prepare a mock interview for you and tailor the content of that to the company you are applying to and where you have your interview. It's an extremely valuable resource, so please do take advantage of that. You can book them through My Career also. We also have lots of relevant workshops running for every stage of the recruitment process, and also videos on our YouTube playlist to help with every aspect of the recruitment process. Thinking about whether your LinkedIn profile is strong can be a very valuable tool. We won't go too much into LinkedIn and how you can make the most of that for your placements, as we have lots of other resources on that. But there's a link there to using LinkedIn for research and also making connections. So having a look at your LinkedIn profile and thinking whether you can improve that is another really powerful action for this barrier. And finally, if you do think that there might be a mismatch in your skill set and the kind of placements that you're applying for, speak to a careers consultant to explore if your experience is relevant to the kind of placements you're interested in. Not being sure what kind of placement is for you. Some students still aren't totally sure what kind of placement they want to do, even after searching and applying for placements for weeks and months. If this is you, try and not be fixated on your career plans and how a placement fits into that. A placement that you enjoy and are passionate about could be just as valuable and still develop your transferable skills that the majority of employers are going to be looking for. Think about what you want to get from a placement. Do you want to increase your confidence, or are you looking to develop knowledge of a certain sector? From there, you can work out what kind of placement would give you that opportunity. Remember, for most degree programs, placements don't actually have to be degree related, so you could try something completely different. Some key actions to help with this barrier. Speaking to a careers consultant about what kind of placement could help you to develop the skills that you really want to focus on can be a really useful thing to do to give you some clarity on that issue. You can make an appointment with the careers consultant through My Career, or you can drop into the careers service at Kingsgate during the drop-in hours I mentioned earlier. Another option is to do some research using the LinkedIn Alumni tool to find out more about what others from your degree programme have gone on to do in their graduate careers, and also what they did for their placement years. So there's lots of information on how to use the LinkedIn Alumni tool on the videos about LinkedIn on the Careers Service YouTube channel. I'd really recommend having a look at them, but it's very easy to find. All you have to do is search in the toolbar on LinkedIn for the Newcastle University page, navigate to the Alumni tab and type in the degree programme that you are on and that you want to find out more about, and you should get lots of information and stats coming up to be able to help with your research with that. Have a think as well about whether you could speak with a trusted academic to explore your ideas and options. They might have specific sector knowledge that could really help you with working out what's going to be a good option for you, and they might even know some local companies who they could recommend that you apply to speculatively. So try to take advantage of all the contacts that you've got at university. What to do if you're not sure if a placement's for you. Firstly, it's important to say that that's okay. Placement years aren't for everyone, and some people would just prefer to continue to their final year. If this is the case and you think that a placement isn't going to be right for you, then consider other ways to get experience. So there are lots of other ways to get experience, such as internships, volunteering, working part-time jobs, which are all just as valuable as a placement year. So if you do decide that it's just not for you, that's okay as well. Thinking about what you want to get from the next academic year can help you to decipher if a placement year is going to be the right choice for you. Think about what's important. Is it important that you stay with your cohort of friends and live with them? Or is it more important for you that you gain some experience and maybe develop some of your skills and confidence? Those kind of questions should help you to decide whether a placement year is right for you. Some key actions to help you with this particular barrier. So make a list of priorities. Would returning to university or taking a placement fit better with them for you? As I mentioned on the last slide, finding out what the things are that are important for you for next year and thinking about which course of action, whether a placement year or coming back to university to finish off your degree, would work better to get you those goals. If you are still thinking you might want to do a placement year after doing that, but maybe want to stay in the Northeast, live with friends and stay in touch with people who you know in the area, then maybe switch your focus to looking for a placement in Newcastle or the Northeast. There are lots of placements in the area and we always have a lot of students every year staying in the Northeast for their placement years. And that could give you the best of both worlds where you can get that experience, develop your confidence and transferable skills, but not losing touch with friends and family in the Northeast potentially. To work all of this out, the careers consultants can really help. So they're here to have a conversation about this and be an unbiased ear to help you to work out what is going to work best for you. You can also speak to friends and family, and the placements team are here to help you with that. So please do get in touch if you want to have a chat about anything that's come up in this workshop. And that brings us to the end of today's fairly brief workshop on reinvigorating your placement search. We hope this has been helpful, but if you have any questions at all, please do get in touch by emailing the team on cs.placementyear@ncl.ac.uk or getting in touch with the career service through My Career.